We're going to continue this preloader now by starting the action script necessary to make it work. First off, we need to stop the movie so that it doesn't go ahead and try to play before the full movie is loaded. So, in frame 1 of the actions layer, let's drop in a stop action. Now for the main code. We're going to need an on-enter frame, and inside that, an if-else statement to check the loading progress. As I mentioned previously, I like to set up the framework first and then fill it. So the first thing is the on-enter frame. Starting with the keyword this, of course. And the curly brackets. Down a few lines and add the right one. And next we need the if-else statement. This goes inside the onEnter frame function. So we go if, the condition, curly bracket, a couple of lines, and the closing curly bracket. Then the else. Curly bracket, 2 lines, and the right one. Let's give ourselves a bit more room. The first thing we're going to check for is whether or not the amount of loaded data is less than the total amount of data in the movie. For this, we use 2 properties called getBytesLoaded and getBytesTotal. It's common practice to use variables to temporarily store these values and then update them every cycle. This way, all we have to use in the if-else statement is the variable names. So just above the if line, let's create a new one, and we'll declare these variables. These are number type variables, so let's type in var, and my first variable I'm just going to call loaded. We'll make it a number type and make it equal to the property getBytesLoaded in close parentheses and a semicolon. The second one, I'm going to call this total. Again, it's a number type variable equals getBytesTotal. Okay, so what's going to happen here is every frame, these variables are going to be refreshed with the current loaded bytes and total bytes. Now, because the condition in the if-else statement is going to be whether or not the amount of loaded data is less than the total amount of data, all we have to do here is type in loaded less than total. So if loaded is less than total, what are we going to do? Well, all we need to do is set the X scale property of the preloader bar to whatever percentage of the movie has loaded. To do that, we just need some simple math. Let's type this in, and I'll explain afterwards. Preloader is the instance name of the first movie clip. Inside that, the instance name is bar. And then the X scale property, and we're going to make it equal to the loaded value divided by the total value and then multiplied by 100. And as you can see, we're targeting through the preloader instance to the bar. And then we're taking the amount of bytes loaded and dividing it by the total bytes. This is always going to result in a number with a value between 0 and 1. Because if loaded and total are the same, the equation ends up as a 1. Then we multiply that by 100 to give us a number between 0 and 100. And because the X scale property of the preloader bar works in percentages, at 100% the bar will be at its full width. Now all we have to do is decide what we want to happen when the movie has fully loaded, and that is when loaded equals total. And we're going to start that in the next lesson. So let's move on.